Good afternoon and welcome to this FCSI panel session on the importance of water filtration in coffee applications, which is very kindly supported and sponsored by Pentair. Thank you for joining us for this session, which will last for approximately 40 minutes. I'm Michael Jones, Editorial Director of FCSI's Foodservice Consultant magazine, and on our panel today I have a great pleasure in introducing a leading FCSI professional member, Nahum Goldberg, FCSI of NGAssociates Foodservice Consultants Inc., and Ronny Billemon, WQA Master Water Specialist, Technical Support and Applications Engineer, Foodservice Europe for Pentair. Two outstanding experts to address a subject that has become increasingly pertinent to our industry in recent years. Gentlemen, before I give an overview of the topic we're going to discuss today, could you perhaps just give us a moment to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your area of expertise? Nahum first, please.
Sure. I'm Nahum Goldberg. I'm a food service design consultant. And my group basically does projects primarily in North America, but we're also really honored to be working with consultants in other areas. Brandon, good to see you here. The aspect of FCSI is really important to us, and it's always great to make good contacts. So we're doing a lot of workplace dining. Coffee is certainly very important to workplace dining. I think for this panel I can speak to some of the things that we do in the design process, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. Welcome to him. And Ronny, please.
Yeah. All right. I have the pleasure to join my passion about coffee. I've been doing world competition in coffee for more than 10 years, and I have the pleasure to join that with the expertise on water. So within the group, I'm no longer sales active, but I'm mainly focused to support and share our knowledge with everybody in the market. So my task today in the company is about consulting, supporting, education, training around water and coffee, but beyond coffee, of course, all of this in the package. So it's about really helping the market to develop and to get the best out of the business, because we underestimate water is the second most important bill in a restaurant. So it's about understanding that we can do great things with it, but we should not consider it to be something simple out of the tap.
Great, thank you, Ronny. And we're going to channel that passion for coffee that you mentioned there and focus today on, I think, 5 key areas. Number one, how a great coffee can really elevate a food service operation, and also the design considerations for that. Secondly, we'll look at how innovation is shaping water filtration in modern coffee operations. We'll look at why water filtration and treatment systems are essential in coffee operations. We'll look at why preventing water waste and sustainability generally must be a major consideration for operators, and why it's essential to maintain and service water filtration equipment properly. Let's kick things off first, Nahum. Could you give us, maybe set the scene and give us an overview of the kind of impact that a high-quality, efficient coffee station can really have on a modern food service operation? How can it elevate that F&B offering?
So coffee is definitely a central part to most of the projects that we're working on across all different sectors of the industry, whether it's an amenity building, a workplace dining facility, or restaurant, a bar, hotel. Just about everywhere has coffee. And I think part of the whole idea of having coffee is to create a point of relaxation, a point of meeting for people coming into the space. It's kind of an elevated hospitality experience. And I think the highest level of that is really having a barista prepare for you.
Yeah.
But there are all different levels. And it's truly a team amenity that we see. And it's usually something that comes straight off from the top of HR if we're working in a workplace situation, or the owners of a development is like putting the coffee bar in the center of the project. And so it's a place to relax, unwind, meet, and its attraction also in workplace for returning to office is having a great amenity and hospitality as you enter the space.
Fantastic. And we're seeing behind us on the screen here some great examples of where you have that coffee station that is the center of a project. And as you said, it's that amenity that immediately greets customers as they come into an operation. Ronny, can we maybe look at some of the key trends that you and your team are seeing in terms of coffee applications? I guess some of the things that Nahum was just talking about there, about how this is all evolving and how coffee is forming a central part of a really kind of a good food service operation. What are you seeing? What trends are you seeing?
Well, the trends we mainly notice as part of that the younger generation, they're drinking less alcohol and they like to be teased by something special, something different. So we see that the specialty coffee, the high quality coffees are booming up. Also, with COVID, a lot of people bought an espresso machine at home and they learned to drink good quality coffees at home. So they expect more from the restaurant where they have to pay, what, $3 to $5 for a coffee. So in the industry, we have let's say two segments. You could look at specialty coffee, and that is mainly, if you want to be really the specialty coffee, I wouldn't mind to drive a half an hour to come to your place for a great coffee.
Yeah.
But then it should be great, and not because I think I should be. On the other hand, we have a lot of very great restaurants, and it's always a pity, and I'm sorry, but I'm being more severe on that. You had a wonderful meal, and then they come at the end, would you like a coffee? Oh, sure. And then you get something which tastes like a burnt tire. And you still have a half an hour driving back home. Well, the whole pleasure you had during the evening about eating, it's lost.
Yeah.
So the beauty of the restaurant is killed by the coffee. That's a pity. So you have to look at where you are in the business and what you aim for, but also remember that continuation of that pleasure. It's not because you're a restaurant you should not think about the coffee. So we have to look at the whole package.
And in terms of looking at that whole package, Nahum, what are some of the key design considerations that consultants, you and your fellow FCSI professional members have to consider when you're planning a coffee station? What do you need to think about from a design perspective?
So design kind of starts with a design thinking approach. So every project is different, every client is different, unless you're going into maybe a prototypical situation where a coffee chain has already, they know what they want, they know the equipment, they provide you a planogram, and you're coming in and you're basically just interpreting that. So, we start with discussions about what are the goals for creating a coffee experience, what's driving it, and then we talk about what is the equipment that goes in there, what are the different offerings, whether it's cold brew, a tea program, type of service, front-facing service, or turning around, or really what is the emphasis and what is the driver. Then we think about options for the equipment, the accessories, how it fits in the space. We always have, in the design aspect, we always have a push and pull with the architectural team, the real estate team, how much space we can get. Usually one of the things that's missing is storage, because people love to do small coffee bars in the middle of nowhere. And where do you keep the refrigerated product that has to replenish the milk, the packaging, all of that? How far is it away? How many times are you running up and down the elevator to get it? And then, of course, filtration. So filtration, needs to be well thought out, whether it's a centralized filtration system or individual filtration. And I think we can talk about that a little bit down the road in this conversation. But oftentimes that comes as a kind of like, where do we fit it now that where we've already completed this space and we have absolutely no space to put it.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Just to, I guess, focus on a technical aspect, Ronny, for a second here. You talk a lot about the taste profile of water and the importance that has and the bearing that has on a coffee application. How important is that? How is equipment influenced by something like a taste profile or vice versa in terms of the equipment used to filtrate water, used to treat it? Why does all this matter, having a good taste profile?
Well, basically, the first question we have to start with is what's coming out of the tap.
Yeah.
Because a lot of cases people pay a lot of money to do worse than the original. So it's knowing what is coming out of the tap. And then we have to decide what water treatment we're going to do, depending on what also is the objective. Where are you in the business? Are you just want to serve a good coffee, black, looks like coffee, tastes great? Fine. Simple. Or you really want to be going for, I want to be the reference coffee shop.
Yeah.
Taste profile, because water impacts the taste of the coffee and the tea and ever. I challenge everybody, have fun with water and tea, because in tea you can do whatever you want, it's in your face. With coffee, we as a barista, we can adjust a little bit, but then I'm always saying I prefer to take my time to get the best out of the coffee instead of covering up.
Yeah.
But it's about, knowing all of that, and then you pick the right water treatment. So my message on that one, challenge your supplier. I'm going to put this filter. Yes, why? Because we do it everywhere. That is not an answer. That is not an answer. He should know why and should clearly be able to explain what is going to be the effect of that. and it has a direct impact on your taste profile of your coffee. And certainly if you're looking at these beautiful fine flavors and aromas, we're challenging the farmers to pick the right cherries, to treat them in different ways. And we're willing to spend a little bit more for a quality coffee. Then our piece of respect is at least we should handle the water correctly.
Yeah. Nahum, Ronny there talked about challenging suppliers. One of your roles, I guess, as a consultant is also to challenge the operators to say how important something like good water filtration is in a coffee application. Do you think that often gets overlooked? Is product quality there perhaps neglected by operators? Do they not consider those processes? And how do you persuade them this is all pivotal to elevating that coffee offering?
I think in most of our projects, they're looking to us to help them set the level of the water quality.
Yeah.
So we, like Ronny said, we are definitely relying on equipment providers, our local reps, my go-to beverage folks, who happens to be actually someone from Pentair Everpure in our area. So nice plug for Mike Palm, WPD. So basically on every project, we're reaching out to Mike. Mike, can you look at the water quality in the location? Can we get them to send you a water sample? Can you help us to provide the best appropriate equipment? Because we're not manufacturers, we're not engineers or scientists in that area. We know enough to get things in the right place, and we know where to ask the questions. So I think that's kind of where we start. And I would say that it also depends on the group. So if there's a group that's very experienced, they may have their own specifications and their own systems and their own proprietary brand manufacturers they go to.
Yeah. Ronny, how to Nahum's point there, how can correctly filtrating and treating water actually ensure a longer lifetime of coffee equipment as well? Actually responsibly looking after the machine as it should work?
Yeah, we notice that water is changing all over because we are consuming massively more water than we used to do in the past. In the past, we had once a month a bath, and we used water for food, and that was it. Today, we take 3 showers a day and all of that, and we are more people. So the sources we used to have, we take the other sources for our water, which comes with a complete different chemistry. And we have to acknowledge that existing historically water treatments are not always the best anymore, because they might solve a problem, like scaling, which as we all know, scale is a problem, but they create a water quality at the end which is completely off and can destroy your machine from the inside. And too often that creates even worse water where you have a high level of heavy metals in the water. Wait a minute, that water is what you're going to make coffee with. So we should understand that treating the water correctly is not nice to have, it's a must-have.
Yeah, it's essential. Nahum, would it be worth you talking a little bit about some of the different projects you work on, the different operations that have got varying needs of different types of water filtration, different types of treatment systems, maybe size, volume? Kind of, what are some of the different kind of projects that you work on that just have different needs?
Well, I think, it starts with the water quality, and like I said earlier, we are really relying on our local representative distributor to help us specify the right filtration, whether it's central filtration with inline filters or diverse filtration at points of use. When there's a need for a specialized system, we're looking for guidance from our manufacturer and rep partners.
Fantastic. And in terms of looking for guidance, Ronny, from your perspective at Pentair, how is innovation really shaping this sector now? How is, let's say, innovation in water filtration in a coffee station able to help some of the big industry challenges we're facing at the moment, like the labour issue, lack of skilled staff, that kind of thing? How can a good system help alleviate that?
Well, unfortunately, we also have to bring some bad news. We're picking our water, which has been taking 100 years to get through the ground. The problem is we've been putting a lot of trash for more than 100 years in the ground, which also reaches out. So we have new challenges about healthiness of our water quality coming out. So that's part of it. Another part is, of course, the technology it develops. In the past you had an espresso machine with tubes from 1 centimeter and openings from a half a centimeter and a huge pump blowing everything through. What's fine. Today we have machines with 0.6 millimeters flow restrictors. So the challenge is also on technical side, where also in the past a lot of problems were simply balanced to bad water or let's say bad machines. Today we know we can pinpoint what in the water has been causing that problem. And we keep on getting new challenges on that one we need to solve. Good point is we have great engineers that can do that.
Yeah. And to your perspective, Nahum, there as a consultant, do you feel like those challenges on the technical side are being met? Is the innovation there to answer the problems and that your operators are facing?
So, first of all, I'm always on a learning experience. This panel, or coming to the show, seeing new technology. But I think the things that might be of importance that I'm feeling is preventive maintenance becoming more of a ingrained issue on every project, so that when we design a project, we're able to provide the preventive maintenance guidance, of course, proper training and technical startup of all the equipment. I think it's also might be of importance, and there may be some solutions out there that you can share, Ronny, about actually monitoring either volumetric or some other ways of some sort of optimization of filter changing, so you can reduce labor, filtration costs, and you can really know what's going on with your equipment, because the lack of preventive maintenance or keeping track of those type of periodic services really leads to decrease in quality and bigger problems that cost a lot of money and also downtime for equipment.
Ronny, do you want to answer that? Do you want to pick up on that?
Yeah, we keep on that point because one bigger major challenge we all have is finding good technicians.
Yeah.
In every country we have the problem. So one of the challenges we have in development is make it simple, keep it simple, and make sure that with, let's say we go, for example, we move partially also to reverse osmosis technologies, but really professional-wise. That allows that instead of going 4 or 5 times a year to one site for service, we try to reduce that to only one visit. That means that also there, with the same amount of technicians, we can do more sites. So these are also challenges we encounter every day.
Yeah.
So that's a not always quite visible way of doing the challenge. Because monitoring, there's still limited data we can have. But knowing our customer, what he's doing, what his turnover is, the coffee roaster, for example, knows. And then based on these feedback, we know how intensely the machine is being pushed. And then we can adjust the right water treatment solutions.
In terms of those solutions, just a side question here. You mentioned reverse osmosis there. Is there a different level of appreciation or appeal of reverse osmosis maybe in the States as there is in Europe? Are you seeing that changing? Where's the appetite for it?
Yeah, well, basically in the States, reverse osmosis is almost a standard thing.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. In Europe, it's been for many years way too complex, way too complicated and expensive. Nobody likes it. We are more in resin filters. Although now more step by step people understand that with reverse osmosis we have much more to do and to offer. However, we also need to take in consideration marketing is nice to tell a lot, but reverse osmosis can use a lot of water, waste a lot of water, and that's a big challenge for today.
Yeah.
It's about sustainability, controlling that amount of water we waste. It's not deadly, but it's still a waste of water.
It is. One thing it'd be worth touching on here, that since the pandemic, clearly there's been an intense scrutiny on sanitation and cleanliness and hygiene. Have you seen that have any impact on things like water treatment, water filtration? Were those standards getting close to where they needed to be anyway? Or has there been an elevated kind of impact since the pandemic because of that massive pressure on and focus on sanitation?
I have to say sorry, but that's quickly forgotten in the world of coffee.
Right.
It's always about, a lot of people still look at water treatment as a cost, where actually it's going to save them a lot of money. It's an investment like another part of your business. But this one can, if you do it correctly, save a lot of money and a lot of worries.
Yeah.
Also, we help them to push that they should be doing on time preventive maintenance on the equipment. Because if we can plan a maintenance, preventive, you wouldn't be worried and you know ahead the cost and the results. By always postponing that filtration maintenance, you put stress on your equipment and other parts, and sooner or later you will have to call for an urgency service, which costs you triple.
Right.
But meanwhile, you also destroyed other parts in your equipment. So it is important to do like offered by the service companies and the manufacturers, on time your maintenance, and then you will save a lot of money.
Yeah. Nahum, do you have a view on that at all?
I would just add to the idea of preventive maintenance. Like, we have clients that have probably $50 million worth of food service equipment in North America. And it's all one organization. And if there can be a solution to providing some sort of more automated or smarter way of determining when things need to be fixed or maintained, including filter changes or some sort of monitoring system for water systems, I think that would be brilliant. I think that would be well received. I think it makes sense for everyone. So maybe it's a challenge. Maybe it exists somewhere at the show. We haven't seen it yet. I don't know.
Ronny, do you have a view on that at all?
Well, the biggest challenge on that one, are they willing to pay for it? Because that's always the biggest point. There is telemetry, there are solutions in the market, not perfect, but it can help. On the other hand, nobody wants to pay for it.
Yeah.
So it's always about, if you have a 3,000 euros espresso machine, you're not going to put 500 euros on water treatment. They say, well, it's not in a balance. So it's about finding that right balance. But there's a lot we can tackle today with digitally. It's like for on a coffee machine, the coffee roaster should know how much coffee they use. We can help them to calculate how much water that is. And based on those kind of data, we can help them manage what the filtration would be. And then you can optimize with very low investment, very low cost, this kind of stuff. Yeah. Of course, the big companies, huge total restaurants, that's a little bit more complicated. But there are tools today that can help to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. And on that front, a final question from me then. Where do you see this innovation for water filtration, water treatment evolving? And ultimately, what kind of impact is it going to have on coffee operations in the future? Ronny, for you first, please.
Well, if I look on the quality of coffee, we see more and more the resin bottles, the filter, that's a part of the business. But the quality will be more and more moving to the newest generation of reverse osmosis, where we have a full control on the minerals. And that will allow then everywhere in the country you will have the same water for the same coffee and brewing a similar quality.
Yeah.
And the newest generations, they don't waste 80-90% of the water. They recover up to 80%. And then that little twist of water we put away, give back to nature. It's not deadly and it's reasonable. But between cheap RO, there are plenty on the market, and a quality RO that can easily save you a few thousand euros a year only on the water invoice. I can tell you it's impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah. What's your view on that, Nahum? What's your view on that? How do you see the innovation evolving?
I think just back to kind of monitoring and preventive maintenance issues. I see new coffee equipment coming, over the horizon, and I think aesthetics are really important.
Yeah.
Particularly in filtration, putting it in aesthetically in the right location, accessible for service. Don't have much to add on that particular question.
Okay, that's a great answer. Thank you. We have time for some questions from the audience. If anyone has a question here to ask, Tina, give you a mic. In fact, I think Bram has one.
Hello. I just wonder, so you mentioned a little bit before how equipment and filtration has advanced over years, how it's changed. And I just wonder what drives innovation within coffee equipment generally, but filtration specifically.
It's a great question. I wish I'd asked that one.
Money, always money. Two parts of that. Money, of course, the market noticed that this is coffee is a growing market. It's a booming market, and step by step also the industry, like the big coffee chains, understand that controlling the coffee for the water for the coffee quality is not only an advantage for that point, but also an advantage for equipment, lifetime, savings. So it's a win-win at all levels. Complementary with that, we have things like the World Barista Championships, the SCAE and all of that. I've been part of that, I've been doing competition. You understand how the impact of water is on the taste profile you deliver.
Yeah.
And you want to control that. Because I want to open a coffee shop where people will come from all over the country. Where you want a great coffee? Well, go to Ronny's over there. That's the point what we are going for. And also when we see the young generation with all respect, I'm also a little bit from the older generation, but in that generation, people want to have the same coffee every day with 3 spoons of sugar, like in Italy. But the young generation want to be teased daily. They want to, an app is 6 months lifetime. Same with coffee. You're not going every day to the same coffee shop for the same coffee. You want to know, this time, what coffee is going to have? Costa Rican, Uruguay, whatever special coffee. And that you can only achieve when you're really concerned about the water quality. Otherwise, they will all taste the same flat black.
Yeah. Do you agree, Nahum, with those key drivers that are pushing innovation?
I think so.
That's the catalyst.
I think so. Definitely the demand for coffee among the younger generation is very much of an influence, because that's what we see, particularly in workplace dining in the tech world, which is a lot of the business that we're doing. A lot of young engineers, young people, they're very savvy, and they're looking for the next best thing. They're looking for quality. So I think we can elevate that, all working together. So,
brilliant, thank you. Do you have any other further questions at all? Question right here.
I actually have one for Ronny. Ronny, you keep talking about money, who's going to pay for these filtration process. What is making that cost so high? Is it the innovation and then they're trying to pay that innovation off? Or is it the materials? Because we're talking plastic, sands, paper. I mean, what is the real expense cost there for these filters?
The base is there always research. Has to be spent money to do research. Because it's not because you put resin in a tube that you have a great stuff. It's about controlling all this chemistry you're going to have. And with that also go for fine-tuning and developing even further beyond the classical. You will find here 20, 30 companies making a filter cartridge which will soften your water. But not everyone is focused on, wait a minute, I also need to protect the machine, not only from scale, but from corrosion and other elements. And I would also love to have great coffee taste. So it's about understanding that everything you do with water, a treatment, a changement, is changing the chemistry. And that has a direct impact on what you do. Just ask a bakery that installed a central sodium softener. His bread will taste completely different. Same you have in the drinks, in the coffee. So yes, it has a cost, but still if you look at the whole package, it will still be a big saver, because in the industry we cannot put in a crazy cost on it. Nobody would be buying it. It's same with technology. You can have the greatest technology, but if it's too complicated, technicians and installers will not like it. You will not sell it. So it's about, okay, how can we make something which, yes, we invest a lot of money, but it's at a reasonable cost and also easy to implement and use.
Great answer, Ronny. That is all we have time for today. I'd like to thank our excellent panel, Nahum Goldberg and Ronny Billemon, for their time, for their excellent contribution. Thank you both. Thank you all for attending today, and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.